The first thing you'll need to do for this project is to gather some fall leaves. It's a good chance to get outdoors. You'll want to pick leaves that have a nice shape and an appealing color to you. And keep in mind that small leaves work best for this project. When you've gathered plenty of leaves, you're going to take them indoors and find a big, thick, heavy book. Or if you don't have a big book, you can use a smaller one. You'll just have to stack more weight on top of it. And then inside your book, you're going to put a paper towel folded in half. And this is to keep any moisture that's from the leaves from staining the pages. You'll lay your leaves down and make sure you don't have them touching or they'll dry stuck to each other. So you want to make sure that they aren't touching. And then you can also, if you want to at this point, remove the stems because those really won't glue down to your jar. And then you are going to close the book and wait. You have to wait 1 full week for the leaves to appropriately dry out to be used. Alright, it's been a week, so I'm going to open the book and find out what my leaves look like today. So I used several different paper towels in this book, and now my leaves are all nice and dried and thin. Now they're very fragile, so you'll have to handle them carefully so that they don't break. So I'm just going to take the leaves out and set them aside. And turn to my next group of leaves. Pull those out until I have all my leaves ready to work with. Okay, now that I have a nice collection of leaves, I need to get my jar. Now I used a mason jar. You can also just take an old jar from your pantry, finish the spaghetti sauce or whatever's inside and rinse it out. Just make sure your jar is really clean and dry before you start. You're also going to need something called mod-podge, which is a special sort of glue. And then we are going to just take, I used a foam brush, you can use whatever paintbrush you have. And we're going to take a little mod-podge and brush it right directly on the side of our jar. And then you will choose a leaf. And then you're going to just press your leaf to the jar and hold the edges down. And this is where some patience is required once again, because you have to hold the edges down for a long time so that your leaf doesn't pop up off the jar. Now the edges won't lie completely flat. Some parts will most likely stick up off your jar, but that's okay. It just adds to the character and lets everybody know you're working with real natural materials. Once you have your leaf in place and it looks like it's staying down, you just repeat the process. Add more Mod Podge, pick a new leaf, hold that leaf in place. You can have your leaves overlapping slightly, but you want to leave some space so that the light that we're going to put in later will shine through. And I just keep adding more leaves until my jar is more or less covered. Again, not entirely covered. I want to leave some blank spaces without any covering so that the candlelight will show through. When all the leaves are in place, I coat the entire jar with one more layer of Mod Podge and then set it aside to dry. Now my Mod Podge is dried, but I'm not done with it yet. We're going to add 2 more coats of Mod Podge, one at a time. So here I've added my second coat of Mod Podge. Now instead of using it in brush strokes, it's easier to dab it on because again, some of those edges of leaves are sticking up and they're still fragile. So if we just dab it on, we're less likely to damage the leaves. Once the second coat of Mod Podge was dry, I painted it with Mod Podge one last time for one final layer, and when that was dried and cleared, I added a little trim. So I used raffia to make a bow. You could use ribbon, you can use twine, anything to just kind of add that decorative rustic touch to your lantern. The final step is to add a tea light to your jar and light it. And you can see the candlelight shines beautifully through the leaves, and it makes a lovely decoration for fall. I hope you have fun making your own fall leaf light. Thank you for watching.